I want to read you this sentence that got from a Greek Orthodox Christian charity in the occupied territories. They were in a refugee camp in Gaza trying to deal with the question of hunger. And one of their aid workers went into one home. The 10 children had pale faces, decayed teeth, and arched backbones, especially the 12-year-old girl. They were all asking for their mother for food. And the younger ones were crying of hunger. I opened their fridge to find nothing except a plate of bulgur wheat and half an onion. The United Nations in September, and this is from the New York Times, was supporting 830,000 people in Gaza. That's an increase of 100,000 people this year because of the sanctions that have undergone in Gaza. And that's only the refugees. The non-refugee people can't get money from UNRWA. They have to go to the World Food Organization. And so they're up 25%, and they're helping 220,000 people. Well, do the math. It's 1 million people. 1 million out of 1.5 million in Gaza, desperate, so desperate that they have to get their food from the United Nations and the World Food Program. The electricity is only 7 hours a day. It's like Baghdad. And this is in the Gaza Strip. Since the Israeli soldier was captured back in June, 300 Palestinians in Gaza have been killed. 300 people. The number of Israelis killed by Gazans in that same time is 0. Every day there are raids of Gaza, and there's rumors of a major escalation. There are stories appearing in the Israeli press that the Gazans have somehow secured stores of weapons, hidden stores of weapons. I wonder where we've heard this before. And so the Israelis are talking about going in and doing a really big hit, a real good solution to this thing. Now, anything can be done to Palestinians, and the world says nothing or cooperates with it. I mean, Europe and the United States are involved in sanctions now against the Palestinians like they were against the Iraqis all throughout the 90s. Now, this intensification of siege conditions, when did it start? Because of the terrible thing that the Palestinians did. They voted in an election. They voted the Hamas government to replace the PLO, which hadn't done anything for them. Now the Israelis were mad. They said this is repulsive because Hamas did atrocities. That's true. And was sworn to destroy Israel and all Jews. Not true. And so they had these sanctions and shelling and the stealing of all the Palestinian tax revenues. And all this went on before that soldier was captured. All because of the change in government. What about the Israeli government? There's been some changes there too. After the disgrace, after that terrible performance in the war in Lebanon, the people are unhappy. Plus, there's personal corruption. There's a whole host of Israeli officials, including the president and the prime minister, who are being indicted or may soon be indicted on charges ranging from bribery to rape. And so the government kind of feels they have a PR problem, so they're trying to broaden the government, bringing in new people. Who are they bringing in? They're turning to Lieberman. Not our Lieberman. Not our Lieberman. There's a man named Avigdor Lieberman, who heads the Israel is Our Home party. He's a Russian immigrant, and this is a party of Russians. And he'll come in with his 10 seats in the Israeli Knesset and broaden it. Broaden it in the direction of more racism. He's openly racist. His view is to solve things, the Palestinians have to be thrown out. Not out of the occupied territories. That's a given. But out of Israel, too. 1.2 million Israeli citizens who are Palestinians, he wants them out. And he said incredible things. He proposed blowing up the Aswan Dam in Egypt. This is a country that has a peace treaty with Israel. He proposed taking the Palestinian prisoners and throwing them into the river, and he was going to rent buses for the purpose. And this is the person they brought into the Israeli government. Well, they say he's just a demagogue. Well, I interviewed, and I urge you to go to our website, thestruggle.org, and listen to Uri Avneri. He's this Israeli human rights activist, had been in the Knesset years ago. And he says, you know, I remember this before, he's just a demagogue. Back in the 30s, in Germany, the smart guys, they say, we'll bring in this Adolf Hitler. He's just a big mouth. He's got a big following. We'll keep the important posts. I don't have to tell you what happened next. And this guy, Lieberman, is the real deal. And so this incredible move to the right, and it isn't even over with that, because he didn't say just bring me in the government. He said, I want a change in the government. They passed in the cabinet and are sending to the Knesset a bill to change Israel's form of government from parliamentary to strong presidential. The idea of being like Russia now with Putin. They can do it. They don't have a constitution. They can just take a vote and they could be a monarchy tomorrow. And this is the kind of change in government. And so what is the world going to do, you know, in horrors? Well, they were horrified by the Hamas government, so now obviously they're horrified by what is going to happen to the Israeli government, and obviously they'll do nothing at all. We've got to put Gaza on the radar. We've got to think of ways to do this. Some kind of national campaign. MEC, our organization, is going to be appealing to all the groups to try to dramatize this, to what's going on there, the malnutrition and the violence and the horrible things that are going on. And we hope that you'll join in this effort. Stop the starvation in Gaza.